I love the idea of government. Government, people say we don't need government. That's crazy. We need government more than we've ever needed government because the world is so much more demanding and there's so much more going on. And in a world where there's a lot going on and there are a lot of different players and things are just changing fast, all these various aspects of the modern life and the modern world, we need government more than ever, but we need good government, not the government that just will do whatever, will make a buck, and always putting commerce at a higher priority than public health and these types of things. And we see at the town board level this wonderful example. Colton Town Board, Lisbon Town Board, Canton Town Board, Russell Town Board, all these wonderful examples being set for good government that we can have in the future. Tell me, what do you think? Let's talk about the St. Lawrence County Legislature, because see, a town board, like your town board, you don't have a health department. You do not have any really significant way that you can educate your town residents about POPs and POPs exposure reduction and cancer risk. Well, the purpose in getting the towns to pass the resolutions was to move on then to the county level of government and get the county to pass a resolution because they have a health department. The St. Lawrence County Legislature can give a directive to the St. Lawrence County Public Health Department, the director of the St. Lawrence County Public Health Department, and move forward with having our county health department, our St. Lawrence County Public Health Department, educate St. Lawrence County residents about how to reduce their exposure to persistent organic pollutants and thereby reduce their cancer risk. Your and my representative on the St. Lawrence County Board of Legislators, his name is Scott Sutherland. I had a meeting with him even before he took his position on the St. Lawrence County Legislature, and he listened, he thought his own thoughts, he dug into the science and the information. He became a strong advocate for this kind of education. He made just a top-notch presentation to the, it was an April 2011 Services Committee meeting. He made a presentation about the POPs cancer risk, and he wrote a resolution and brought it before the St. Lawrence County Legislature Services Committee. And then there was a vote, and the legislators, more legislators were opposed to this kind of education than were for it, for a number of reasons, and they shot that resolution down. And so right now, regardless of the fact that many more than a majority of the towns of St. Lawrence County passed resolutions in favor of having this kind of education done, that education is not being done. What do you think is a logical and likely to succeed next step as far as getting this kind of education provided to the residents of Colton and the rest of the residents of St. Lawrence County?
I unfortunately think, and it's not just, it not only happens with the county government people, it even happens at the town level. Sometimes we find people want to deal with personalities rather than with issues. And whether you like a person who has an issue or not, you have to look beyond the person to the issue, because that's what's in front of you. And I think in part that's what's happened with the aspect of represented with Sutherland's proposal and so forth. Okay, how do we get around that? I think it's the only way you're going to get around it is getting the localities, again, the communities, the towns, to unite in an effort to respond to the county about the fact that they're, upset with the idea that they won't support that program. I also know that now, which was partially true before, but the financial part today, if there's anything that has any dollar amount tied to it, the county's in such a situation, they probably aren't going to listen. But I think a lot of this can be done without dollar and cents figures being thrown out.
That is exactly the way we see this. In fact, maybe a good next step for our group, in collaboration with some other groups, would be to say put forward a proposal that would make it very clear that money does not need to be spent on this. There's a website. There's already a St. Lawrence County Public Health Department website. That website will be a perfect place, even if this resolution itself that describes so well the POPs exposure cancer risk and this simple step of minimizing exposure simply by reducing the amount of animal fat that one consumes. even if that resolution itself could be just placed on the County Public Health Department's website, and then a few news conferences held about the fact that it was put there for the reason of preventing cancer, that would be huge. Such a great amount of education would take place. There's no doubt that we do not have to spend money on this, and maybe the best way to go forward with the time and the situation as it exists right now is just make it very, very unavoidably clear that no money needs to be spent. Because I was at the Village of Messina Council meeting a couple nights ago, and one of the trustees, she said, I've read this resolution. It says direct the director of the county public health department. That means money will have to be spent. And I waited till she'd finished, and then I responded and said, we made it clear in the committee meeting that it would not be a matter of spending money, because there are so many other ways of going about educating. The world is full of possibilities, and we can do this without money being spent, because so many people, the truth of it is, so many people want to volunteer. I am a volunteer. I love volunteering to bring these changes and use scientific knowledge to prevent cancer. There are so many people. We are finding that people from all walks of life that are thinking for themselves and caring about the cancer burden, the cancer incidence, the cancer problem that exists in our part of the world. They want to do something and give from what they have as their abilities to bring a change on that. It's going to happen. I feel very positive about it all.
I would think that if you addressed a letter to each of the town boards stating things like, you know, the importance of this project, the idea that it would not cost anything, and asking the town boards to consider sending a letter to the county, probably the chief executive of the county, and asking them to reconsider their stand. But one thing I want to caution you on, you want to keep things as simple as possible when you're asking for these things. You know, if you go into a lot of detail, as you can see the clutter on my desk, keep it simple, okay, and hopefully that will help to encourage people to support the cause.
Well, thanks so much, Larry. You've given me this wonderful interview. You are the first, I want to really honor you right now, you are the first local government member. In fact, you are the first member of any government in the world who's been willing to be in our movie about the persistent organic pollutants, the cancer that they cause, and the high incidence of cancer in St. Lawrence County. And I just want to say honor to Larry Patswold, Supervisor of the town of Colton, New York, USA, United States of America, for being the man that got this ball rolling. Thanks, Larry.
Well, thank you very much. And good luck.
Yeah, have a great day.
Okay.